Let me ask you something. When you picture a really intelligent person, what do you see? Probably someone in a lab coat, someone who talks a lot, uses big words, and has an answer for everything. Someone who looks smart the moment they walk into a room. But here's the truth, real intelligence rarely looks like that. In fact, some of the most brilliant minds you'll ever come across look completely ordinary on the outside. They're quiet, they're simple, they don't show off, and sometimes their everyday habits can actually make them look a little weird to the people around them. Psychology research tells us something fascinating. Intelligence isn't really about how much you know, it's about how your brain processes the world around you. And that processing shows up through very specific everyday habits that most people completely misread. So today we're going to talk about 10 habits that are surprisingly common in people with extremely high IQ. And by the end, you might just realize that the smartest person you know has been hiding in plain sight all along. 1. They enjoy being alone. The first habit is one that often gets misunderstood. Highly intelligent people genuinely enjoy spending time alone, not because they hate people, not because they're unfriendly, but because their brain is always working, always processing, always thinking through ideas, and all of that thinking needs quiet space to actually happen. Research from the London School of Economics found something really interesting. People with higher intelligence actually feel less satisfied with too much social interaction compared to others. Their brain simply needs alone time the way your body needs sleep. So if you know someone who regularly chooses a quiet evening alone over a crowded party, don't feel sorry for them. Their brain is probably just doing its best work. 2. They're curious about everything. Highly intelligent people don't just ask big, deep questions about life. They ask questions about everything. Why does this work that way? Why do people react like this? Why does nobody talk about that? Their brain is constantly searching for patterns and explanations. Curiosity isn't something they turn on and off. It's just how they move through the world. Every ordinary situation becomes something worth understanding a little more deeply. 3. They talk to themselves. Okay, this one might make you laugh, but stay with me. Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it self-directed speech, and studies show it's genuinely helpful for the brain. Talking to yourself out loud helps you organize your thoughts, stay focused, and process information more clearly. So that person you saw muttering quietly to themselves in the grocery store, they might not be losing their mind. They might actually be thinking more clearly than everyone else in that aisle. 4. They easily say, I don't know. Here's one that surprises most people. You'd expect a very intelligent person to always have an answer, but highly intelligent people are actually very comfortable admitting when they don't know something. Why? Because their brain understands just how complex the world really is. They know that the more you learn, the more you realize how much is still out there to understand. Psychologists connect this to something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It basically says that people who know very little tend to think they know a lot, but people who are genuinely knowledgeable understand how much they still don't know. In simple words, the smartest people in the room are often the first ones to say they're still learning. 5. They overthink small things. An intelligent brain doesn't really have an off switch. The same brain that can solve a complex problem at work will also spend 20 minutes thinking about something small you said 3 days ago. Not because they're anxious or insecure, but because their brain naturally explores every angle of every situation. From the outside, this can look like indecision or worry, but on the inside, it's actually a very active, very engaged mind working through multiple possibilities at the same time. 6. They have a sharp sense of humor. This one catches people off guard. Humor actually requires serious brain power. To say something funny, you have to recognize patterns, break expectations, connect two completely unrelated ideas, and do all of that in a split second. Studies have actually shown a real connection between higher IQ and a more developed sense of humor. So, the person in your group who always has the perfectly timed joke or the cleverest observation, there's a good chance their brain is working at a very high level. 7. They change their mind easily. Most people see changing your mind as a weakness, like you didn't know what you were talking about in the first place. Highly intelligent people see it completely differently. For them, beliefs aren't something to protect. They're just the best available explanation until something better comes along. When new information shows up, they update their thinking. Simple as that. Psychologists call this cognitive flexibility. And it's actually one of the strongest signs of an advanced thinking brain. Stubbornly sticking to a wrong answer isn't strength. Knowing when to change direction is. 8. They come alive at night. Have you ever noticed that some of the most creative and thoughtful people you know are total night owls? There's actually research behind this. Many high IQ individuals report that their brain feels most active and creative late at night. Some researchers connect this to the fact that highly intelligent people adapt more easily to non-traditional patterns and schedules. While everyone else is winding down, their brain is just getting warmed up. 9. They watch more than they speak. In a group conversation, a highly intelligent person is often the quietest one in the room. But don't mistake silence for disinterest. They're watching, they're reading the room, they're picking up on things most people completely miss. The tone in someone's voice, the way the dynamic shifted when a certain topic came up. The thing nobody said but everyone felt. They gather all of that information first, then when they do speak, what they say actually means something. 10. They're always searching for meaning. The last habit is the quietest one, but maybe the most important. Highly intelligent people carry a constant background question in their mind, a quiet search for meaning that never fully switches off. Why do people behave this way? What's really going on beneath the surface? What does any of this actually mean? This isn't always dramatic or philosophical. Sometimes it's just a small, quiet feeling that there's always more to understand about people, about life, about themselves. The bigger picture. Here's what all of these habits have in common. They can all look like something negative if you don't understand what's really going on. The person who stays alone looks antisocial. The person who asks too many questions looks annoying. The person who changes their mind looks uncertain. The person who talks to themselves looks strange. But sometimes what looks like a quirk on the outside is actually a very powerful mind doing exactly what it was built to do. Intelligence isn't about being loud. It isn't about having all the answers. At its core, it's really just about one thing, a brain that never stops being curious about the world. And maybe that's the most interesting thing of all. If this made you think of someone in your life or maybe even yourself, share it with someone who needs to hear it today.